Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the final round of action from the United States Chess Championship. We will feature round 13 today out of 13, and then we will feature any and all additional rounds without spoiling too much. Some of you have already obviously looked at the result. I wanted to make this video yesterday, concluding the Women's and the Open Championships, but then the lawsuit drama broke out, and I had to make a video on that first because that was shocking. I'm going to jump into the games. This also will be the conclusion of Hans Niemann's first over-the-board tournament since this whole thing broke out. He is playing one actually not too distant into the future. I think he's playing another one in like 10 or 14 days. So you can rest assured we will have a lot more fun recaps. This is the final round. Hans is on a 3-game winning streak, defeating Elshan Maradiabadi, as well as defeating Sam Sevian and Alexander Lennerman. And he goes into this game with a Wonder Liang, who plays the French defense, which is kind of rare at this level. And, we instead of playing d5 on the second move, instead of allowing d5 on the second move, Hans plays Queen e2. So this is a move. It's actually, it's definitely a move. And the point is that Black can't really play d5 anymore. I mean, Black could play d5, but now you can't take like this. And White just sort of, gets a good Scandinavian. Or Black sort of has to play like a Scandinavian defense. A Wonder doesn't play into that at all. He turns the game into a Sicilian, so now it's like e4, c5, queen e2, which is just an idiotic move, of course, against the Sicilian. But then Black doesn't have to play e6, and Black wouldn't play e6, but Black already played e6. So there's a lot of transpositions here, right? Like Black is saying, well, you're dumb for queen e2 because now it's a Sicilian, and White is sort of saying, no, you're dumb because you played the move e6. And look at a few moves later. He plays e5. So we get an incredibly locked position. How many of you hate locked positions like this? Just deadlocked. Well, I made a video a long time ago called How to Play Close Positions. Didn't get that many views as much as drama videos or recap videos because, as much as people like instructional content, YouTube doesn't recommend it that much. And, it just doesn't get clicked on that much. But I do have a video on that, and it's all about how to break through these close positions. Black is going to go for d5 maybe, White is going to go for d4. And from an early phase of the game, actually, the position was just unbelievably locked, right? And Black actually had a nice position. Black played a5, and then White tried to play b4, and he did this, so that now if the rook ever comes out, Black immediately can attack it, among other things. And Hans played knight d2 with a very clear plan of playing the move f4, like this. Now, the computer doesn't really like this position. It thinks that Black has a convincing space advantage, but when you're like 20 moves into a game and nothing has been traded, the computer sometimes gives relatively optimistic evaluations. And you see Hans trying to maneuver over here and play this move f5. Black really has to fight back right away. If Black allows White to play f5, White actually gets a completely winning position. So it's very simple to look at Stockfish and go, this position's -1, what a bad opening. But you don't actually realize what you're talking about because White is a move away from getting a crushing attack rolling on this side of the board by taking, planting, attacking h6, queen h5. The position just will very easily play itself. So a Wonder has to fight back before White gets to do all of that. And we get a big trade, a big skirmish over here. Actually, a very nice tactic. Bishop takes g5. The point is that if Black takes, you have bishop here, and then queen h5 as well. And Black actually might accidentally get checkmated if he's not careful. You gotta sacrifice this, and queen h5 and queen h6. Very scary position. A Wonder doesn't fall for that. He doesn't fall for that trick and just kind of does this, and the players kind of back up. So there was no trades, then there was a big amount of trades, but the position remains equal. In fact, it remains so equal that the computer almost wanted to go home here, saying it was 0-0. A Wonder gets a little hasty here and plays e4. He actually should have sacrificed his bishop to fork White like this. And after queen to e2, you can take, but you can even continue to roll forward. Now, evidently he didn't like something there. He decides to do it this way, but now he's just down a pawn. I mean, and having to defend a relatively unpleasant game. Now, Hans applied some pressure, and it was a bit of an unpleasant defensive effort, but A Wonder did a nice job being active with his pieces, getting rid of this bishop, and now he just has two very powerful bishops and an incredibly strong pawn, where this pawn is always going to be a liability for White. It's going to be very dangerous. Hans defended, and actually now A Wonder seizes control of the advantage. So a very back and forth game, but I wonder just trades off the material and we get a rook endgame of 3 pawns each, which will probably become a rook endgame of 1 or 2 pawns each. This is just a draw. This is a draw because you have this, if take, then here, and these top-level grandmasters know how to draw a 2-on-1 endgame on the same side. Now, if white's pawn was like over there on c4, this would be a very winnable endgame for white, because white would just try to push the pawn. Same side is just a draw. I know this might confuse you, think, oh, but, 2 minus 1 is 1, and then, I have a pass, but no, it's just all a draw. Same side, you can't, it's just no way. Game goes on for about 15 more moves, and ends with king and pawn versus king, and shockingly, a wonder knows how to defend this endgame, so the players make a draw. Hans finishes this tournament with a rating, I believe, just above 2,700. He might be 2699 and like 0.4 after this tournament. Let me check. Yeah, he's not 2,700. He's 2699.1. Wow, brutal. It's like when you're 5'9.5 but tell people you're 5'10, like me. Or I'm 5'10 on a good day. 5'10 when I stretch in the morning. I don't know what that is in meters. Sorry, you guys are just gonna have to translate that joke into your more correct type of measurements. I don't know why the US has such a weird measuring system. Anyway, this is a chess video. So Hans finishes the event in style. Now, okay, it's time to discuss the two men involved in the competition for first place. So just a friendly reminder that the standings look like this, okay, before this round. So Fabiano Caruana is in first place. Now, he drew against Levon Aronian in the last round, which means Ray Robson is the only guy who can catch him, okay? Think about Caruana has 8.5 now, because this is last round, because otherwise I would have spoiled it. So Ray Robson needs to win. So Ray Robson is playing Jeffrey Zhang. We have a Queen's Gambit accepted. Very boring position, but a position that only white can win. Total symmetry in terms of pawns. White has a little bit more activity. Jeffrey's looking to sort of have Ray overextend and then get some winning chances of his own. Oh, I gotta roll my neck. There we go. Okay. Now, from an early stage, it was, in fact, Ray Robson with a big advantage. Ray Robson absolutely was better. He had an advantage as large as +1 because he made a bunch of improving moves, and here could have played like Rook D1 and then Knight E4, Bishop E6. He had to do it in the right order, and computer was really, thought his position was very promising. But he did it in the order that he did it in, and still, I mean, black is extremely passive. This is very much a position where black will try to kick out white, but very much it's about will white arrive the right way and will white launch the right attack. Like, white can play h4, h5, knight h4 ideas and so on, but a big position's not lost at all for black. It's just very pleasant to play with white. And then Ray played knight d5. He went forward. Rook c7. Oh my, what? Take? He takes the bishop, and now it's check, and the rook will take the rook. So this is the way Ray gets in. Okay, and now Ray goes for it with g4. He's like, I got it. I mean, this is the only way I'm going to become US champ. Okay, keeps attacking, 2 bishops. Draw? No, he doesn't accept the draw. Knight h4 gives up the bishop on b2, and I mean, again, this is the biggest advantage that Ray has had the entire game. Rook c1, queen b1 looking for this, but suddenly f5. Now, here, Ray could have prepared the idea queen b1. He could have made a few more improving moves. But this move is not just defense, all right? This move is not just looking for this. This move is looking for this. And Ray misses that. Ray misevaluates something about this tactical shot. Maybe he thought after bishop f5, gf5, he would have some devastating attack with knight f5. But he misses that after this and queen h4, Jeffrey Zhang is now winning this game. The last move of the time control, and Jeffrey is now in the driver's seat. He has 2 pieces for the rook. Knight and bishop versus a rook is better 9 times out of 10. All right, like I like to tell that to new players. Neither one of these guys is a new player. I mean, but you literally have 2 more attacking pieces than the other guy has defenders. Black's king is safe, as weird as it looks. Black has more attacking pieces. Now it's up to Jeffrey to win this game. And he tries, and he's pushing forward. A tough question for Jeffrey. Does he trade queens to go to the endgame? Does he keep the queens on? Look at this move e4 with queen g3 infiltration. We have check, and he trades the queens because otherwise white would have gone here, closing the door. We have an endgame. And Jeffrey is now playing this for a win. Ray Robson's chances of winning the US Championship are gone. What happened to the eval there? Well, rather than king f6, apparently what you had to do was go knight c2, rook a6, and bishop c4. This is the way that Jeffrey could have played this for a win, grabbing this, moving, and playing the b-pawn forward. The way Jeffrey did it with king f6 is that now if you play the same exact idea, I am winning your b-pawn, and the pawns on the same side will not go. They will not go anywhere. No chance. So knight c4, the way that it goes down in the game is that Ray is able to consolidate and get to the b-pawn. Checking, whatever, but he gets that pawn. Jeffrey misses the right coordination to defend his pawn from any harm, and this is just a defensive fortress. Neither side can break through to each other. The pawns are all on the same side. The players make a draw, and Fabiano Caruana wins his second United States Chess Championship. Congratulations to him. Very solid result. I believe he was undefeated. Ray's so close. I mean, he had a nice position in this game, but he also could have lost this game. So this is a draw where neither side is happy. Both players walk away sad from this chess game, but I mean, it's a sentence that I feel like is just very normal for just general chess world, walking away from a game unhappy. Now, the next 4 games that I'm going to show you, if you had the patience to watch 11 minutes into this video, thank you. You are about to witness just a spectacular display of chess. I mean, this was wild, okay? This was wild. A friendly reminder what we are dealing with on the women's side of the championship. Going into the final round, Irina Krush has a half-point lead on the field. Jennifer Yu is playing Talia Cervantes. So the 2 people in second place and third place are playing each other. If Irina Krush wins her game, she wins. She wins the US championship for like the 9th time. If she draws or loses and one of them wins, it's still up for grabs. Well, if she loses and one of them wins, they win the championship. Jennifer Yu versus Talia Cervantes Landero. Here we go. All right, so white plays a Catalan. White plays going for a Catalan. Black plays a Queen's Indian. And we have a Queen's Indian defense. And this is just a line where black is like always slightly worse. I mean, white is just 0.4, 0.5. But as we saw in the Ray Robson game, that doesn't always mean everything. And white trades the dark squared bishops, tries to trade knights, and black plants this pawn in the center and is like, look, if you're going to spend the game trying to win this pawn, I will spend the game defending it. And if you try to spend the game getting rid of my pawn, I will just shove it into your position and it's going to be very difficult for you to move anything. But white is still better according to Stockfish. Queen b3. Now, queen b4, very well-timed move since, you don't want to play defense the whole game. So rook d1, and we get a queen trade. So now we have a middle/endgame. Why is black so much better here? I mean, won't white go knight b5 on the next move and then play bishop h3 or maybe f3, chipping away at the center, utilizing the c file? Maybe. But why is the position minus 0.9? I guess Talia misevaluated the exchange, and she does begin to play this, but black just plays c6. Kicks the knight back and plants the knight on b4. This is what we call an outpost. That knight will never be booted from there. There is no c or a pawn. This knight will never come here. And if rook a1 to try that, I have knight c2 always. Right? And black is going to try to bulldoze down the king side or bulldoze down the e file. Knight a4. Look at this well-timed move hitting this pawn. Stubborn move defending the pawns. And now g5. All right, you go here trying to trade bishops with me. I arrive just short of capturing the bishop on f1. And now if you do this, I'm going to take this and I have a passed pawn anchored in by my brilliant horse on b4. And that's actually exactly what happens. This trade does come in. But now, a few moves later, black has the option to do this as well. Look at this knight. This is a 6-point knight right here. And that knight stays there. Rook f3. Now, what is going to be the final act of this game? Like, black is making a bunch of improving moves, right? Look at black walking the king to the queen side. But what's next, all right? White has this amazing, black has this amazing position, but white is rock solid. There are no obvious weaknesses. h5. That is the final domino of the white position. Here comes, look at this. King g2, you can play h4 right now, but it's a two-sided attack. So black is going to try to beat you with the pawns. White tries to fight back, but the king opens up. We have rook g4, and it takes a little while, but Jennifer spends the remaining portion of this game effortlessly improving her position. Pushing, sacrificing a pawn to get the one on the other side of the board, and the white king is hunted out. The knights traded. The black rook swarmed the king, And that's it. It's equal material, but it's only symbolic. Because after this, the pawns arrive, and there is nothing that white can do. That central pawn majority was just disgusting in this game. Jennifer Yu wins, and combined with Irina Krush not being able to convert her game against Anna Zatonsky into a win, we now have a playoff. So Jennifer Yu and Irina Krush tie for first place. What happens when you tie for first place? We don't look at the we don't look at the tie breaks. We play a playoff. You tied for first, you play a playoff. I'm a big believer in that. Like, chess has had tie breaks forever. Like, maybe sometimes you're like, oh, well, you know, I beat you in the tournament, and Irina did beat Jennifer Yu in the tournament. I don't think that matters. I think that regardless of the head-to-head score, if you tie for first, you should play a playoff. That's just what I think. So they do. It's a best of two. If it's tied 1-1, they play an Armageddon. First game. Jennifer Yu with the white pieces. They're playing on the next day, by the way. They got a day break. That's why I also had to delay this recap. The first game Irina plays, she plays a check Benoni. She is not looking to stabilize with black. She's looking to win. She wants to win the championship with the check Benoni. Now, the players set up a giant armada of pieces, and then the knights get out of the way, and as we saw in the Hans Niemann game as well, we are going to have F-pawns. In fact, they launched the pawns at each other at the same time. All right, so everything is pointing over here. I mean, the queen side we're sort of going to leave for now. One pawn chops. Now the black bishop is wide open. Knight jumps into the middle of the board. And a few moves later, we have another capture. But look at this. Black is already indicating that, you know, she wants to do battle over here. We have captures. Knight b5. And we will now no longer have pawn breaks, as the position will likely be decided by maneuvering. However, black might still try something. Oh, look at that. Black is trying something. All right, Jennifer says, no, I'm good. I've had enough of pawn breaks. Knight jumps into d4. Takes. You cannot take this because knight f3 check. If you take, knight f3 check, and then you lose your queen. So that pawn is there to stay. White plays knight f2, preventing the move d3. Blockades the pawn entirely. Black plays rook to e8. Very stable position. Very tense position. A lot of tension in that center with the knights. Rook c1. Jennifer takes control of the c-file. Black ignores the infiltration and wants to take the pawn on b3, also wants to route the bishop this way. Apparently now white is better, but it's a rapid game, so we're going to see mistakes on both sides. It's also so tense. Everything is staring at everything else. I mean, one wrong move, and one side might be losing. White retreats out of the black position, and now black begins to take over. Bishop a6, queen b6. But wait a minute. There's a blunder. Bishop a6 was good. All of this was good. But queen b6, kind of like playing naturally over there. Jennifer Yu has rook c6 winning on the spot. If this, then you have rook e8, king f7, and even though you lose your rook, you have bishop d6 and various checkmates on e7. But Jennifer misses this and plays queen f2. Now black plays d3. And black is once again better. Queen back to b7. Queen d7. Bishop f4. Very tense position. Jennifer takes the knight in the center. And then takes the pawn on d3. And when the dust settles, she's just a pawn up. But it's still equal. I mean, opposite colored bishops, not a whole lot of winning chances. Rook g8. Sides begin moving this way. And Jennifer here uncorks savagery. Sacrificing the rook. Thinking the bishop is stronger than the rook. Now you do this. Rook takes b3. Rook f7. The attack is arriving. Bishop e4. Queen f6 on the board. Irina did not care for her king that much in this game. Check here. Are we going to make a draw? Rook f7 would be a draw. Jennifer finds queen f7. Game, set, match. Rook b2 check is not good enough because king h1, and you cannot give another check. And whatever you take the rook with, queen h7 is mate. And that is exactly what happens in game number 1 of the playoff. Jennifer Yu strikes first. It is 1-0. That means Irina Krush has to win this game to force a playoff. Maybe she will, maybe she won't. Will Jennifer Yu be the champion after the game is over? We have an Wait a minute. To win a game, you are playing a dead symmetrical position? What is Irina doing? Right? She's going to show us what she's doing. Bishop b5. Okay, it's a little bit more imbalanced. Notice that she put her bishops before the knights. That's non-traditional. Okay? That's not the way you're normally supposed to do things. Queen a5 check. Jennifer, that's not actually a fork, right? Because knight c3. But she seems to think that this is a completely reasonable way of playing. I mean, it's bold. Bishop d7. Knight e2. Okay, very interesting. Totally non-traditional development. No knight f3 at all. Basically, Arena is looking for imbalance, and now black is going to begin paying the price for moving the queen out here, because you're going to have to probably get out. Now, knight b1. Knight b1 is a fascinating idea. I think the idea, obviously, is b4 in the future, but knight d2, knight b3, and getting to that c5 square looks quite nice. Queen back to b6. b4, knight b3, knight c5. There it is. The plan has been implemented. Jennifer doesn't like it and gets rid of the knight. Now, what should she have done instead? Left the knight there. Apparently, this knight is just not a problem. It's annoying. It looks really unpleasant, but doing this is an overreaction because now white has a passed pawn, it's protected, and white has two bishops, and white completely dominates the dark squares. White plays bishop c2, queen d3, looking for an attack, but the position is still anything but worse for black. Totally equal, in fact, according to the computer. Very tense once again. How is Irina going to break through here? f3. All right, she's looking for various preparations here. She brings the rook. She pins the knight. Bishop goes back. She's still undecided about what to do. Will Jennifer make a mistake somehow? a4! The second that Jennifer brought her rook from the side of the board and kind of got her pieces tied together, Irina strikes on the queen side. She takes, and now it's very clear that the black queen side is looking a little bit loose. e4. Oh, it's looking real loose because that pawn is now no longer going to be able to guard that knight. d4, sacrificing on d4. Takes. The knight is stuck. The knight is stuck. Jennifer has to sack the rook here to relieve the pressure and escape. Instead of that, she just does this. But that's not good enough because white has bishop takes e5. But now Irina makes a slight inaccuracy with this move and forces Jennifer to trade. Now Jennifer's just winning. Jennifer is totally winning. Knight c4, rook e8, bishop e8. Now that exchange was bad. What she should have done instead of trading the rooks is played knight b to c6. She should have kept the tension. Jennifer shouldn't have rushed. There was no need to rush in this position. What she should have done instead was try to remember the Jeffrey John game. Imagine we get an endgame like this. Black can never lose. The knight and the bishop are better than the rook. The white pawn on c5 cannot move forward. Black just has a total blockade. And if anything, black is going to go here and start winning some pawns. And then black is going to go here. So instead of that, Jennifer rushes the exchanges. And now bishop h8 threatens mate on g7 that she can almost not stop. She has to sacrifice this pawn. But that's it. I mean, the black king is in dire straits out here. Rook d1 is coming. Bishop f6 back. I mean, black might not be losing, but this is an unbelievably unpleasant position to defend. And the defense doesn't last very long because black gets swarmed. Queen d8, rook e7. That's it. Game, set, match. Irina Krush has struck back. We are going to an Armageddon. It is so close between these two. In the Armageddon, Jennifer has black. That means that Jennifer has draw odds. And for the first, 40 or 60 moves of the game, there is no bonus time. You need to make it to the 60th move of the game, I believe, to get any sort of bonus time. Irina gets less, black gets less time, but black has draw odds. Knight f3. Normal. So far, so good. White playing for only one result. White has to win this game. e5. d3. Normal stuff. Center is closed. So once again, we get a very similar position. Probably we're going to see some f-pawns moving forward. There's knight e1 on demand. Now, at this point something happens that is one of the most absurd things I've ever seen at championship level chess. Jennifer Yu plays the move bishop to g4. Now she hesitated. She kind of plopped because it's a speed game. Put the piece down and and let go and was like, wait a minute, what am I doing? That's not pinned. It's it's like a motor skill. She was like, oh, I'm going to pin the knight. White just takes the bishop. 2 rounds ago, Jennifer Yu hung a light squared bishop in one move to Irina. Again, this is the second time she has hung a light squared bishop for nothing. She is down a minute on the clock and a full piece. She should resign. Some people would argue it would be disrespectful to even play on against your grandmaster level opponent in a championship level game. And you know what Jennifer Yu does? She's like, I'm going to make moves because that's what you do in a chess game. Chess game ends in 2 ways. Okay? Checkmate, resignation. There's other ways, but those are the 2 most epic ways. Checkmate, resignation. You can beat someone on time, whatever. That is one of the ways to win, though. I don't know if punching somebody counts, but in chess boxing, it certainly does. And well, Irina plays on because she's up a piece. She trades. Look at how she's trading. When you're up a piece, you should make exchanges, right? Look at all the exchanges. Knight goes to the middle. The white bishop goes to d2. Right rook is going to arrive. Okay, arrives like this. She plays everything perfectly. Everything. And right here, White just wins the game if white takes on f5. And if you take on f5 with the rook, I mean, you could pin the rook and then do that. You could also maybe play rook f5. I mean, you got to make sure there's no tactics on your king. Maybe you have to be a little bit careful, but queen g4. And if this, you can actually just straight up take the pawn, because after this, you have queen g4 check. It's a fork. Bishop f5 wins the game. Instead of that, she plays this move. Now, on its own, that doesn't look that bad, because you can still play rook f7 and then move your queen out of the way. Like rook f7, knight f7, I don't know, move the queen to g2. Like, you're up a piece. You could basically do anything. But Irina takes on d6, and she's still winning, but there is this move. Oh my goodness, she's going to lose her queen. But it doesn't matter. Rook h2, it doesn't matter. If rook takes e2 happens here, you even take this rook, she is still totally winning. But she's suddenly like, wait a minute, what have I done? King h2, and now instead of taking the queen, black takes with check. So not only are you going to lose your queen, I've won the knight with tempo. That was the difference. She had to do this, or she had to ignore. She had to ignore it. But by walking into the check, white suddenly loses all of the advantage. Now you may be asking yourself, why did white not play this move? Because there is rook f4. And if you take with check, black blocks with check. Unbelievable. Oh my goodness, this is spinning out of control. White has like 2 minutes to figure all this out. I mean, sometimes we take for granted the tactics in a position like this, right? So white's like, oh my God, what have I done? Everything settles. Black is lost. But only if white gets to the king. Like, black is about to start eating every pawn. It's like the big bad wolf. The queen arrives on f3. She's like, what's up? The king's wide open. You can't guard him. White is still winning, but how? Queen g4, rook g2, bishop f4. White, that's it. Now, remember, this is Armageddon. It either ends in a draw or black wins on time. And around this moment, Jennifer Yu realized she has more time than Irina. Irina spent way too long in the game. She got a little bit nervous, a little bit indecisive. And even though it's still completely winning, she doesn't find her way. She doesn't find her way. The queen arrives on e3. I mean, it looks like the game should just be over at any moment. In fact, it really is. If bishop f4 and you run the king somehow, and that's the bishop f4, you have bishop e5 mate. But Irina goes back, and now it's a draw. Not only is it a draw, she makes an illegal move somewhere here because it's just a wild time scramble, and that gives Jennifer Yu more time, but more time doesn't matter. White has 3 seconds. White has 2 seconds. White has no seconds on the clock. Jennifer Yu wins on time in this position to win the Armageddon, win the playoff, and for the second time, win the US championship. I think she's even back-to-back US women's champion, unless I'm mistaken. I don't know if she won last year, but she's won like twice in the last either 2 or 3 years. She also won an extra $10,000. She won a game down a full piece. Crazy. And I mean, you know, credit where it's due of being able to lose 2 light-scored bishops in 3 games against the same... Okay, I'm joking. I don't know why she hates light-scored bishops. Clearly, it's some sort of light-scored bishop hatred there. She just kept pieces on the board. She just kept the tension. I mean, Irina was just doing what you do, just surgical procedure, bringing the rooks, and then just didn't... I think what Irina missed was like rook f5 here. I don't know, maybe she saw that if she moves her knight, black has some tactic. She missed rook f5, queen g4, and then it was just deer in the headlights. It was not the first mistake that killed Irina. I mean, there was like 3 or 4 just sort of in a row, and then even then she roared back because she has enough material to beat a queen, but just too slow. I mean, she was just too slow, never made it to the bonus time section of the Armageddon, and Jennifer Yu wins. What an absolutely unreal event. So Jennifer Yu is your US Women's Champion. Fabiano Caruana is your US Open Champion. And that concludes the United States Chess Championships of the last few weeks. Now, obviously, look, this event was extremely popular because, well, Hans Niemann was going to play over the board since kind of the whole scandal happened. But hopefully it produced an exciting array of games for you to follow. Hopefully you have enjoyed the recaps as much as I have enjoyed making them. Hans's next tournament seems to be something called the Fall Classic, which will happen, I think, November 1st through 10th, so that's pretty soon. That's also going to be in St. Louis. He's playing some of the best players all over the world. That's one of the cool things about those classics that the St. Louis Chess Club organizes. I don't know what Jennifer Yu's next event is, and frankly, I'm not sure we know what anybody's next event is in this event, with the exception of Hans. I mean, I feel like he's the most popular player in the world right now. We have that news that broke yesterday, and that's all. I will continue to make content for you, whether Hans or Magnus or none of them are playing, but till then, just wish you all the best. Hope you have a great weekend. I made this on a Friday. If you watch this on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, hope you had or will have a great weekend. I'll see you in the next video. Get out of here.